Hello and welcome to the show. We start to this week's FailRace episode with Angus on GTA 5. Now, this was testing regardless of one of the King of the Arenas we had fairly recently, with quite possibly the most impressive takedown of all time. The Super Diamond got in trouble. The Oracle launched off of some bit of debris, managing to do a sort of a flying kick and removed the Super Diamond from the game as well. That's a hell of a takedown. Killer Robot up next on Watch Dogs 2 is driving around, sees a jump they want to go for, you know, as you do. The landing not quite so good. No, that's quite wedge. Not quite as good as the Oracle's flight through the air and dropkick, but that's quite stuck. That's very stuck. This is where the boopy gun from GTA 5 is so very helpful, but the car's not going to be going particularly far. Speaking of boopy guns, Midget Ninja up next on Just Cause 4 is driving one of the very big transport boats. When it hits something, could be a boopy gun, it's minding its own business, and then suddenly one of the biggest boats you can imagine is flying through the air with kind of the greatest of ease. It comes splatting back down into the ocean, kind of bounce off the side of a mountain. I'm not sure what caused that to get so upset, but there we go. Mafioso on American Fugitive. Now, I presume sort of some top-down thievery game, but AIs are not behaving themselves at all. I think they're supposed to drive away, having completed the mission or whatever. They're not. We're driving around in circles. That's definitely not how you make a quick getaway or a subtle getaway. There is no subtlety going on here, as one car had crashed into the house and one car was just doing donuts. Who knows? Cobra X on Horizon 4 is taking part in one of the kind of rally races. Now, of course, we've seen many a time where you run a little bit wide in Dirt Rally, for example, clip a rock, go for a roll, land on your wheels to carry on perfectly. On Horizon 4, that is a little bit more unusual, and this is far from a crisp, clean roll, although it's pretty damn good. It's sort of almost like a kickflip with a car, but manages to land it perfectly through the checkpoint. It's so lucky, could have gone so wrong. Rice up next on Drift Streets. Japan gets things wrong and goes for a double roll, almost a triple roll, before coming back down onto the wheels and wedging it on a barrier. It was almost like a grip roll going on with the car there, a bit strange, but whatever way it happened, it's now stuck on a barrier and not going to be going anywhere. Milk Tea Without Bubbles up next on The Crew 2, racing one of the drag cars going for some high-speed runs. Now, there are many things that I've seen go wrong on The Crew. There are many things you might expect to go wrong or with a drag car on these sort of roads. What actually goes wrong is not what I would be expecting. Yes, it hits a pole in the middle of the road. The thing is, that's the sail from a boat. Don't ask why it's there, because I don't know either. Blazer up next on iRacing has an altercation with a backmarker, but amazingly gets away with it relatively well. I think leading the race here, does end up losing the lead, I think from the damage of the car, but I mean, I've done my fair share of oval racing. When a backmarker gets it wrong and ends up murdering you, it's normally game over. I mean, this one here looks like it is going to be. It spins around on the door. Amazingly, though, it's only a small bump, really, on the wall, and it's back going the right direction. So that could have gone so much worse. Although, speaking of flying through the air, Skull up next on GTR2 carries a little bit too much speed. Actually gets the inside wall of the chicane with the Viper, clips that, hits the second one, and it's a big old spiral through the air for the dodge. That's not what you want. That is definitely not what you want at all. Wolf Striker next on Project Cars 2 with some NASCAR having all manner of issues. And now this sort of crash, perhaps not so unusual on this circuit. It's the car hat that we have going on. That's the little bit more unusual bit. It actually carries the vehicle for a good way before it does eventually slip off the roof and go backwards. But yeah, I mean, the AI lose it initially in all of this mess and tries to get through all this. Is not very much you can do. However, yeah, that we're just going to pick it up, we're going to carry it with us, and everything is all good. Yep, it's a decent distance carry. Still on Project Cars 2 we have Mike racing, these are AIs I think, racing in the Mustangs. Now the gold AI gets things wrong, runs wide, loses the back end, can't keep it under control again. We're going to go for a big old spin and hit something. Now the crash is, sure enough, that kind of thing happens, but I don't know what was going on with the after effect, what it hit, why it bobbled around in the way that it did, why it suddenly went for a roll, and then even more entertainingly, as it's backing up and trying to sort of recover itself, it's hit whatever it is again. It's like there's a hidden, something raised almost under the centre of the car, and now the wheels are spinning and it's not going anywhere. It is very peculiar. is very peculiar indeed. Not so great. Sergio Turbo up next is on Rust with quite a leany, wobbly car going on here. I don't know about the driving physics. What I do know though is rolling very possible. What I do know is that excellent roll and land on your wheels perfectly and carry on. Yes, we're getting the hang of that. And all manner of game. If there is a car that can be rolled, you might be able to do a lucky roll and carry on and drive away like nothing's happened sort of event. But there we go. And finally we have MrRare on BeamNG Drive. So this is with the multiplayer mod, and this is one of my favourite clips in a little while, just for the amount of things that all go wrong in a very silly manner. So they're following a truck that's carrying a broken car. Now, the multiplayer mod, you know, it's pretty damn cool. It does have its own little glitches and little bit of bugs and so on, as you might expect. And as this one is going along, the 200BX gets stuck. The player has no time to react, and then behind is an SBR4 that also doesn't have time to react. It's upside down on its roof, trying to avoid and hitting the sort of concrete barrier. I don't know what it is about it. It's just like it's just brilliant. It's just a cacophony of silliness that just ends up with everything being broken one way or another in a really low speed, silly way. The SBR4 landing on its roof is just the perfect end. But there we go. That is going to be it for this episode. As ever, if you have clips you'd like to submit, you can via our forums. There's a link in the description at the very top of the page, the FailRace clip submission section, and you can find all of the rules and how to submit them. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.